Hello viewers, today I'm going to show you how to do a valve adjustment on a Kawasaki Concours. This is a 2000 Kawasaki Concours and I'm going to go ahead and do a valve adjustment on this bike. First thing what you're going to do is take off all the fairings, at least the lower fairings and the gas tank. Once I'm done with that, then we'll go ahead and move into removing all the other stuff that needs to come out before we can do the valve adjustment. So let's get started. So as you can see, I've taken off the bottom fairings. I've got the gas tank off, the seat, the side fairings, and I'm getting closer and closer to getting to take off the valve cover. What I'm going to do next is I am going to take these coils off to clear up some more space here, and then start removing the spark plugs, and then remove these covers right here, and then go from there. So I'm gonna get to work. So I've got the coils pulled up back here. I took both of them out. It's always a good idea to note which coil goes to which spark plug. These have numbers already on them. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4, so it's going to be easy to remember. I've got the air hoses also plugged out. I'm going to go ahead and open these, then take off the spark plugs, and then open up these retaining bolts for the valve cover and pull the valve cover off. It's also a good idea to blow some compressed air around this passage to blow off any dirt that may get a chance to fall into the spark plug holes before you take out the plugs. So I've already done that. So let's go ahead and take out take out the spark plugs, and remove the valve cover. So the valve cover is now loose, as you can see. You've got to be careful not to damage the gasket. And I'm going to pull it out from that side. So let's go ahead and do that. So the valve cover is now off the bike, and as you can see, these are the valve adjusting screws right here. You can see the light is kind of bad, but let's see. If you can see the camshaft, you can see the rockers and the valve adjusting screws right there. What I've done is I've stuffed some rags into the spark plug holes, so there's no dirt or anything that gets in there, because if it does, that's going to be a huge problem. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rotating the camshafts and check the valves. Now the next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this pulsar cover right here. We're going to use an 8mm wrench to remove these bolts and open this cover so that we can access to the crankshaft, so we can rotate it in order to adjust the valves. What I'm going to do is place a little catch pan underneath here so that any oil that comes out can drip into it. So let's get started. So now that we've got everything off the bike, we're going to do the valve adjustment. You're going to need your feeler gauges. That's what I have right here. And this is how you're going to start. You're going to use a 24mm socket on this bolt right here and turn this counter-clockwise. There's an arrow indicating that. So this is going to go this way. And there's a little marker right here in the back. It's kind of small and it's black, so it's kind of hard to see at first. It's got a little groove in there. So what you're going to do is you're going to align either this indicator with that marker or this T indicator with that marker and adjust the corresponding valves. So when you've got this aligned right here, you're going to adjust either the cylinder 2 or 3, and when you have this one aligned, it's either going to be 1 or 4. So up here, as you can see, these are your camshafts right here, and these lobes are basically what press down on the valves on these rockers and press down. This is where you would measure the clearances. Let me get a better angle. So for instance, right now the alignment on that groove is at 2 or 3, so we're going to be adjusting either the second cylinder or the third cylinder right here. So we're gonna, it's from the looks of it, from what I can see, I can tell that I'm going to be adjusting the third cylinder right here. And your feeler gauge basically goes under this gap right here. There you go. And that's where you measure the gap for the adjustment. This side, looking at the bike from this side, this is the front of the bike. This rear end is the intake and this is the exhaust. So you're going to check your measurements on all of these, do it a couple of times. What I usually do is I'll do the adjustments once and then rotate the engine 360 degrees and then recheck the adjustment. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll go from there. Also, I'm going to put down the settings that I use and the variances for the valve adjustment in the description, so check that out. Alright, so we are now done with the valve check. I always keep the valves at the most open end because these do tend to close up over time, tighten up over time, so I keep them on the loose end. So I've set the intake valves at 0.007 and the exhaust valves at 0.009 and for all the cylinders. And I have checked and double checked that the clearances are good. I basically adjusted the clearances once, then rotated the engine complete 360 and then rechecked the clearances, and they're all good. So now I'm ready to put the cover back on. I will also do a carb sync. It's always a good idea to do carb sync after valve adjustments. A couple of my valves were out of adjustment, probably 3 of them, and that's pretty much it. This bike's got about 28,000 miles, so it's not bad. I just bought it, so I didn't know when the last valve check was done, so they weren't too bad. So I'm going to put it back together, start it up, and see how it runs. Alright viewers, so now I finally have the valve cover back on. All that's left to do is put on the air hoses and give the bike a start. Basically, the hardest part of this job is getting all the extra stuff, the fairings, off of the bike and getting the valve cover off. The actual valve adjustment is a pretty simple job. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back together, sync up the carbs, and then start it up.